and welcome to the last Borders Rugby Special of the season. Today we're at Riverside Park for the final Sevens tournament hosted by JED-FOREST. Last week we saw JED crown the Kings of the Sevens after a contentious battle with Selkirk at Philip Hawke. However, that doesn't mean to say there's nothing left to play for today. Lewis Young told BRTV last week that JED were keen to lift their own trophy, but I'm sure Scott White's Selkirk will have something to say about that. Along with all the teams that have been invited today, I'm sure they're going to give us an entertaining afternoon of rugby. Here's Stuart Cameron with the highlights of the earlier rounds.
The JED-FOREST Sevens at Riverside Park is a traditional knockout competition, and they've always gone for a Borders versus teams outside of the Borders format, with 4 seeds being the current JED Sevens holders, along with the 3 top teams in the K7s table. So it all began with Melrose against Musselburgh, and it was Melrose who kicked the tournament off with a straightforward win over their opponents from Stonyhill, taking the tie 28 points to 5. 2 fairly young teams took to the field next, Hawick representing the Borders against Curry, and in a close match it was the Greens who got off to a very good start, going 14-0 up inside 2 minutes. Curry came back to level things up, but Hawick bagged another try to win 21-14. Next up, the hosts JED-FOREST against Biggar, and the K7's champions notched up 5 tries to book their quarter-final place 31-0, and they'd face the winners of the next tie in the next round. That tie was Kelso against Boroughmuir, and again it was a case of a Borders team looking comfortable with a couple of early scores. But Boroughmuir retaliated with 2 of their own before Kelso stretched away to eventually win 29 points to 19. On to the other half of the draw, and Peebles would become the first Borders team to exit the competition. Edinburgh Accies were aiming to win the Macquarie Cup, which goes to the team outside the Borders, which finishes the highest on the Kings of the Sevens table. They needed to finish above Watsonians in this competition by 3 clear points, and they certainly started off well with a runaway win by 42 points to 5. Tie 6 was between Selkirk and Highland, and the guest team from the north of Scotland put up a good fight before succumbing to a more streetwise team who stretched away to take the match 28-12. It was Gala against Berwick in the penultimate tie in round 1, and it went to form, Gala building on a 14-5 interval lead to add a few more tries to their win by 24 points to 10. Last up were Langham against Watsonians, and this one went to form as well. East League 2 side proving no match for the current holders of the K7s, with the City side cruising to a 45-10 victory, and in the process they ran in 7 tries to make sure that they would be in the quarter-finals. And so to the quarter-finals, and it was Melrose versus Hawick for a place in the semis, and really it was all over in the first half, Melrose running in 4 tries to build up a commanding 26-0 lead. But credit to Hawick, they actually won the second half 10-5, but it ended with a 31-10 win for Melrose. So who would be joining them in the first semi-final? Well, we had an identical 26-0 scoreline at the break in the matchup between JED-FOREST and Kelso, with the hosts putting 4 tries on the scoreboard. Again, we saw a mini comeback from Kelso in the second period with 2 tries for them, but it was JED who would go through 33 points to 12. The third quarter-final would be between Edinburgh Accies and Selkirk, and the City team really put down a marker in this one, turning a 12-5 half-time lead into an impressive 31-5 victory. The final quarter-final was between Gala and Watsonians, and in this battle of the Maroons, it would be Gala who would come out on the other side with a 6-try-to-3 win, winning by 40 points to 19 and giving Edinburgh Accies a real opportunity to win the Macquarie Cup. So let's look at both semi-finals then, Gala versus Edinburgh Accies in the second semi, but first, a much-anticipated local derby between Melrose and JED-FOREST. Your commentators Neil Hinnigan and first, Dale Clancy.
From the kick-off there, it came back on a JED-FOREST side, but Don Crawford gets boot to ball. It's now Lewis Mallon, it's popped up nicely to him, and he's going to go into the corner for the first score for Melrose, and it is Gary Monroe who's got across for the challenge as the referee is awarded the score, and straight away out of the traps, 23 seconds on the clock, and Lewis Mallon gets a score. And
yeah, it was a competitive kick-off, and Jed actually won it well and palmed it back, and Donald Crawford just took the gamble that it might go his way, and he gets on the end of it and gets his boot to it, and Lewis Mallon shows really good pace there to gather the ball and finish the try.
Struan Hutchison with a conversion
what a
attempt,
beauty.
and it is an absolute corker, and you could see him just glancing at it as it went between the sticks, and he was happy with that effort. And it's a lightning start here from Melrose. The defence from Melrose so far holding firm, and now McLean. He passes the ball to Stuart Hutchison inside the 22. He goes back and gives it back to McLean and asks him to set up the platform. He goes in between the two challenges there, and from the attempted cut there, it's bobbled about, but Lewis Mallon is first player there, and David Colvin's having to work hard to just keep the two counter-attacking players at bay there at the breakdown. And now Mikowski bouncing back in field, and he puts the afterburners on. He goes in between the two Jed players, and Lewis Young just scampering and tracking the Melrose attacker back. Rory Marshall over the ball well, and it's now going to be a JED-FOREST penalty. Lewis Young taking the quick tap. Munro, he finds Walker finds Gregor Young, and Gregor Young now just fends the wanted challenge there. The 2-on-1 is now coming on. It's now Lewis Walker. He's got some support, he's got some attention there from Stuart Hutchison, and that's a great challenge. Can he get over the line? He stretches and gets underneath the sticks, and it's a reply from JED-FOREST, and this is set up to be an absolute cracker. 3.5 minutes on the clock. Melrose 7, JED-FOREST 5 with a kick to come.
Yeah, Melrose maybe was slightly disappointed in defence here because they have defended well so far. One man just overran it there, and players like Gregor Young are going to eat the hap all day, and they did. And they got the ball inside to Walker, and overall it was a good score from Jed, and they're right back in this.
Yeah, well worked score. It was, it goes through the hands of pretty much every single player, and a great defensive effort as well from Stuart Hutchison to get back, but just not to be on that occasion. He was just perhaps a metre too shy. The play back underway. Gary Munro with a contestable restart yet again, and Gregor Young getting his hands up there, and Lewis Mallon now is putting a bit of pressure on Rory Marshall as he gets the ball on the halfway line. Having to fight hard on the floor, and now a little knock on there from Don Buckley as he tried to get the ball back. Graham Orbison shaking the head. Going to be a scrum down put into Melrose. This is worthy of a final appearance, this tie, to be fair. It's well contested, two evenly matched teams 5 minutes into this tie. Mikowski having to dig about in the scrum, and the referee just signalling that there's an infringement offside there, and Mikowski going quickly. He finds Stuart Hutchison on the halfway line now. Donald Crawford, and he's just found an extra yard of pace. I've said it before, and he manages to get in the outside of Marshall, but it's been well swept up there by, I think that's Davy Colvin. Davy Colvin bouncing back in field. Great footwork from the younger of the two Colvins. Presents it well now, pops it off the ground. Now Crawford finds Mikowski's got McLean there. McLean goes it alone. He's got two defenders there. He's just shy at the line, and now Lewis Mallon gets the ball away from the breakdown. Mikowski's got the ball through the hands to Hutchison. Hutchison's got David Colvin in support. Slows play down. He's been wrapped up by the Jed defenders. He's going to have to work hard to get the ball back. The referee signalling that it was holding on the ground. You've got to be sharp at the breakdown. You cannot delay in getting the ball back, and David Colvin perhaps the support not getting there quick enough, and that was a great opportunity for Melrose.
Yeah, Melrose just squandering an opportunity there to really put the pressure on Jed, but great defence by Jed.
Now the Finlay Scott again slowing the play down. Jed quite happy to throw the ball about on the 5 metre line, managing to evade the clutches of the Melrose defence there, and Gary Munro just spitting a ball straight over at the far side. Just came out like a catapult there as Rory Marshall looks to try and test Lewis Mallon. He swats him off at the first attempt, but Mallon gets a second bite at him. And now play just outside the 22. Now Walker, the playmaker. Don Buckley now looking to try and discombobulate Bruce Colvin. He does just that, and now finds Lewis Young. He's put Lewis Young in acres of space, and Stuart Hutchison now looking to find Don Buckley back in field. Ben McLean is looking to chase him back, but Buckley just finger in the air, waving it and swaggering it about. He puts the ball down. He's not left with any egg in his face, and now Jed take the lead for the first time in this game. And it was great work from Buckley and Lewis Young, but it just shows you the confidence of JED-FOREST. They're happy to throw the ball about in their 5 metre line and work hard for the space.
Yeah, just probably the difference to the teams at the moment is Jed are just absolutely brimming with confidence, and it was well executed there. Lewis Young as ever, a bit of burner on there and back inside to Buckley for the score.
It sets up a mouth-watering second half here as Melrose, who've already secured second place in the Kings of the Sevens, will be wanting to try and get closer and closer to JED-FOREST. They'll be wanting to spoil the party, but it is JED-FOREST who are currently in the lead. It is Melrose 7, JED-FOREST 14. Melrose really need to breach this JED-FOREST defence earlier on to make a fist of it, because if JED-FOREST get the next score, you'd imagine it's going to be an uphill battle for the men from the Green Yards, but Struan Hutchison gets the second half underway in the first of our semi-finals here at Riverside Park, and Rory Marshall gets the bounce of the ball. He manages to offload to Gregor Young. Gregor Young's got a sweeper to try and get round. He finds Don Buckley, but he just tips it on and knocks it forward. He perhaps had a bit of pressure as well. He had a lot of work to do, but a knock on, and then Melrose can breathe a sigh of relief. Mikowski pops the ball in. It's came back on a Melrose side. A bit of pressure there, and a huge kick going in from Gary Monroe as he just clatters into Struan Hutchison, who does well to fight to get the ball back, and Mikowski gets the ball away for the breakdown. Don Crawford's just spotted a little gap, and he's perked up slightly, and he offloads now to Lewis Mallon, who's scampering down the 5 metre channel. He slows play down as he looks for the reinforcements to come, and it is Don Crawford who's in the pocket, and again he just spots the gap. Looks to just go straight into the heart of a Young. He got a good chance of finding one in this Jed side, and he's found Gregor on that occasion. Mikowski getting the ball through the hands on the halfway line. David Colvin, perhaps guilty of giving away the penalty earlier on, looks to fight hard to get his knees on the ground, so the referee calls release. Mikowski, now Bruce Colvin, steps back in field, and he's an absolute ankle breaker there for Stuart as he manages just to stay on his feet. But David Colvin now has got the ball in hand, and now Struan Hutchison is looking to link up with Ben McLean. Play getting closer towards that JED-FOREST 22. McLean held up there but gets his knees on the ground, so the ball is now spilled away. Mikowski finds Bruce Colvin. Bruce Colvin has now got Donald Crawford, and this is a good opportunity for Crawford to try and break through. Looks to try and push Finlay Scott as well with his back to him, and now a clatter in midfield, and there's a gap there if Melrose can identify it, and Struan Hutchison looks to try and manipulate the space, goes back in field and now weaving his way around, and Mikowski's got a gap there. Looks to try and find, and the bouncing ball has found Buckley. Buckley is now, the ball's bounced at the hands of Bruce Colvin. He puts a cute little grubber kick through, but it's not cute enough as it's into the hands of Don Buckley, and now JED-FOREST having to work hard on the floor to get the ball back, and perhaps not the right option there from Bruce Colvin. He does well to wrap round the ankles of Lewis Young there, and the ball is on the JED-FOREST side, and Bruce Colvin arguing with the referee that the ball is out, and now Finlay Scott, and they've got numbers up as well because there's a lot of player committed to that breakdown on the stand side here, and Gregor Young is doing well to stay on his feet as well, and the players pirouette, and now the Melrose defence is dislodged, and Gary Monroe is tasked with going the distance. Can he get over the try line? He's over the 10 metre line and now just charging towards that try line. It's going to be the first score of the second half to JED-FOREST, and Gary Monroe is the player to get the try. It's now Melrose 7, JED-FOREST 19. Just when Melrose are knocking on the door, JED-FOREST bolt it shut and just scamper out the window.
That's the difference, just pure difference. Jed are just that little bit level up for Melrose, unfortunately for Melrose, and the defence turns into attack quick, and they can go the length. They've got numbers of players can do that. Monroe, both the Youngs, the boy Walker, they can all go the length, and they've just been very clinical compared to Melrose. Melrose have had chances and not taken them, and yeah, effectively that's going to be it for them, I think.
It's going to be Gary Monroe with the conversion attempt, a very accomplished kicker, but just not on that occasion because he's fallen foul of the commentator's curse because it's not went between the sticks. It was a relatively easy kick, I would have said, for him, but not able to take advantage, so it sets up for a very interesting climax for the next 3.5 minutes here at Riverside Park. It's Melrose 7, JED-FOREST 19, and I think a big part of JED-FOREST game is when the Youngs, we know they can run, they know they can split defences, but when they take the challenge, they stay on their feet so well because people know how dangerous they are, and they get a couple of players round about them, and I think that was a huge part of the JED-FOREST game. But Melrose, they win the kick-off there. It's came back to Donald Crawford, who's been a pivotal part of this Melrose attack and set-up. James Brown having to work hard. He's came onto the field to play along with Scott Wilson. It's now through the hands to Bruce Colvin. Bruce Colvin looks to try and fend, and it's now back in field. It's now Cammy Thompson, a replacement from Kelso in Melrose colours. They're now getting through to Hutchison, they've conceded a lot of territory, but he just splits the defence, looks to go back in field and just break the arm of Gregor Young, but he's not able to. Scott Wilson scragged and then knocks the ball on, but the referee is...
They were offside, and that actually happened earlier and they never got penalised for it, so... but yeah... Melrose again though, just not taking that chance, can't finish. Great by Jed, you know, they're so up for it.
They've not got that cutting edge, and Lewis Mallon just from an unforced position, and now James Brown looking to try and go round the outside of Rory Marshall. He does just that, and Beepy goes round and he gets the ball down, and that's what James Brown, he's one of those unorthodox wingers. He's a bit of a powerhouse. He's perhaps not the most skillful rugby player in the world, but he knows his way to the try line and he's quick.
Guys like James Brown reminds me a bit like Ross Coombe. If you don't go low, they will bump you. They are so big across the chest. He's quick, obviously. He's fear like pistons when he gets going, and he just proved there, if you're not going to come and challenge me, I'll go in, and he did. And he's giving Melrose a little bit of hope here.
I think he's given him a lot of hope, because this kick is huge from Struan Hutchison, and as delicate as you like, he just chipped it through the sticks. Melrose 14, Jed 19. It's great to see the sidelines bursting with spectators, pints in hand. How jealous am I as Struan Hutchison gets play back underway, and it's a huge restart there. It's been well gathered and fought in the air by Gregor Young, and Darren Gillespie is there in abundance as well to get the ball away from the breakdown as they get JED-FOREST get the ball over at the far side. Lewis Young stretching play, he rides the challenge and sets up the platform for JED-FOREST to try and just suffocate the life out of Melrose. Very comfortable with the ball in hand, JED-FOREST, and it looks like there perhaps was a knock on there from Gary Monroe, but the referee not calling it. And now Darren Gillespie looking to try and arc a run and release Gregor Young, not able to. Now the replacement, Cammy Thompson from Kelso, offering his services up. He's fended once by Darren Gillespie, and now round the neck, and he's doing well, and it looks like it could have been knocked on there from the referee. Has spotted this one. Melrose, if you want to win this tournament, you're going to have to go now. Struan Hutchison now from deep. Can Melrose get the score to take this to at least extra time, or even snatch that victory? And Donald Crawford with the ball in hand looks to try and splinter the defence. He almost gets through, but he's been scragged well. The ball's squirted out.
Surely.
And now,
straight off his feet.
And now it's Rory Marshall who was straight off his feet round the side, but Lewis Young has taken advantage of perhaps a little loss of sight from the referee there. It's now came back on the Melrose side. It's going to be a penalty to JED-FOREST. JED-FOREST to get the penalty. Graham Ormiston.
Oh, Graham. Oh, oh, Graham.
Oh, Graham. There's a soundbite for you. Oh, Graham. Yeah, perhaps Rory Marshall just fallen off his feet. And Gary Monroe takes the penalty. He kicks it out, and that's going to be the final play of the game. JED-FOREST do make it into the final of their home sevens. Perhaps a little bit of controversy at the end there with the decisions from the referee, but it is Melrose 14, JED-FOREST 19. So JED-FOREST make it into the final of their home tournament. Edinburgh Accies have never ever won this tournament. They played in 3 finals. Their last final was all the way back in 1963 against Watsonians, where they lost 18 points to 0. So there's certainly a little bit of history to be had. As for Gala, they've had 16 wins, the last of which came all the way back in 1994. So it's been a while since they've touched the trophy here at Riverside Park. But it is either going to be JED-FOREST, Edinburgh Accies or Gala who are going to win the JED-FOREST sevens, and it's going to be the second of our semi-finals to see who's going to face JED-FOREST. And Craig Dodds, he seems like an ever-present constant in this sevens tournament, but he's going to be getting the second of our semi-finals underway, but they'll be looking at his experience.
The thing is, Gala proved me wrong with Watsonians, but mainly through contact area and abrasiveness, and Accies might not welcome that here, so we'll see what happens. An interesting one for sure. The
kick-off is well contested, and it's bubbling about between the two teams, and it's going to be a penalty because Stephen was coming back in an offside position. So Gala have got a centre field penalty to start the game. It's only 16 seconds old, and it's going to be Callum Pate to get play back underway. He finds Craig Dodds, who takes it down to a pace I'm more comfortable with, a more pedestrian pace, but it bubbles about, and now Liam Scott is looking to try and size up the gaps in the Edinburgh Accies defence. He's been well marshalled there by Richard Mill and Will Stephen, who double up on the big powerhouse. And now a little step back in field from Harris Rutherford, and he's got a few dots this afternoon. And Gala looking to try and go pragmatically and take a more pedestrian approach to this, but now Liam Scott has found a little gap. He's breached it as well, and he's got this Edinburgh Accies defence scrambling deep inside their 22, but great work on the floor from Rory Campbell. And the turnover, and now Richard Mill giving it to Vincent Hart under some pressure, and he's having to work hard in attack to get the ball back on Edinburgh Accies side. Richard Mill putting boot to ball, a cute little kick, and this is perhaps going to work out a little bit better now. Ross Lyle, he is going to gather the ball, and he is going to stride all the way in front of us in the stand and go in for the first score of the semi-final, all orchestrated by Richard Mill, who put in the cutest of grubber kicks in behind the Gala defence, deep inside his own 22 on the 5 metre line, and Ross Lyle goes in for the opening score, and that is a lung-busting effort from the youngster a minute and a half into this game, but it gives Edinburgh Accies the advantage in the semi-final.
yeah, if you look at what Jed do, similar to that, Aki's just done it. Gala should have scored, turnover, little bit of class from Hill. The speedster Lyle picks it up off the bounce and he's gone.
Richard Mill just showing his experience. He's been a great advocate for sevens for Inbrackies, but obviously before that, Melrose, where he also was, I think he's probably won every single tournament that there is to win, but he's wanted to try and find some success at Inbrackies, and that's a good way to start it as well. But from the restart, it's came back on a Gala side. The referee allowing play to continue as Mitchell gets the ball through the hands. It is now in the hands of Pate, and Pate has looked to try and release some pace in Ben Gilt, but he's been marshalled well by the try scorer Ross Lyle. He won the foot race earlier and he wins that one yet again. Now Mitchell on the 10 metre line just bounces back in field, looks to link up with Harris Rutherford. Harris Rutherford trying to find the support and launches an offload straight out of the tackle. It has ended up in the hands of Mitchell, but it was good work from Rutherford to gather that ball initially. And now Craig Dodds, he's got some support there from Liam Scott coming at a rate of knots, but he just throws the offload in and the dummy. And now off the deck, Gala look to try and breach this defence, and now Liam Scott just goes in between, but he's been well defended yet again by Richard Mill. The ball comes out of the breakdown, and the scampering defence from Vincent Hart from Inbrackies just takes Gala a couple of metres back further. And now Mitchell into the hands of Callum Pate. Callum Pate just bouncing back upfield, and he's been ridden high there, but in the challenge. And now Mitchell finds Dodds, and the referee is taking time off there, and I think there's going to be a stop and play and perhaps a conversation between the officials. Nothing that I saw.
No, I've never seen anything yet.
But it's going to be interesting to see. They're just having a conversation as to what's went on. Very animated as well.
That was tremendous defence from Aki's, I must say. Oh, is that a yellow for Gala?
Liam Scott has been shown a yellow card.
Something off the ball.
I wonder whether it was signalling as if it was a push to the ground.
There was a ruck where it seemed like there was a bit of afters.
It's actually Craig Dodds has been yellow carded, isn't he?
Dodds.
Very noble as well. Oh, and that's a criminal there from Inbrackies from the penalty. They tried to pass, and it's went to the hands of Will Stephen. He's knocked on. However, Craig Dodds went up to the assistant referee and did say, and the referee and said it was actually him who done it and not Liam Scott. So they've identified the right player.
If you like Dodds before, you like him even more.
Oh, I know.
Don't you?
A bit of a man crush, I would say.
No, good on Craig Dodds there. Great honesty.
And now from the scrum, now that a man down, but Gala through Mitchell are looking to try and breach this defence from a very attractive attacking position. Inbrackies working hard on the floor to try and get the ball back, but Gala managed to squeeze over there. And it is a try from Callum Pate, who has been at the heart of absolutely everything that Gala have done well in this first half.
Yeah, his work rate's been tremendous.
And he gets a try as well, so 7 points to 5. And you know, when you go a man down to get a score, it certainly eats into the clock as well, but it's something that Gala welcome, because this is 5 minutes old. Inbrackies 7, Gala 5.
Gala right back in it, and that's something that, you know, if Aki's are going to win this tournament, they're the kind of things they're going to have to erase from their game. Gala are in the habit of scoring just before half time. Yeah, they have been. And I wonder if they'll be looking to try. There's going to be a monumental effort if they're able to do that again against this Inbrackies side. But the restart goes deep into the hands of Vincent Hart, and he ducks out the first challenge, throws the offload to Lyle. Lyle's now got Mill. Mill finds Campbell, and then Campbell passing out the back to Appleson, and Appleson spilling the ball over to that far side, and now it's just a foot race, and that is great pace being exhibited over on that far side. Max Wallace, max pace as well, and he manages to outstretch the defenders and go underneath the posts. And Gala getting a taste of their own medicine, because it is Inbrackies who scored just before half time. We've got a bit of rugby still to play, but it's a score for Inbrackies now. They've put it down, and it's 12 points to 5 with a kick to come. And that was easy from the restart. Vincent Hart ducked out, got the offload, stretched the field in pace after that. What I really liked about that try, Dale, is it came from they caught the kick off and stayed really cool and executed the handling very well. Every pass in front of the man, and it was straight into the boy Wallace's basket, and he just takes off tilting up the park for a try. And Richard Mill gets the extras as well, and Craig Dodds comes back onto the park. Contestable restart, and it's ended up in the clutches of Gala. And Craig Dodds, his first action as he's returned back is to offer himself up for a dummy cut and then spill it back to Mitchell, who's over on the roadside here at Riverside Park as they're attacking from into the town centre. And from the breakdown, Inbrackies putting them under a lot of pressure and just scampering now and now. Can Inbrackies escape the clutches of Gala and go in for a score? Because a score here would have a huge impact on the morale of this Gala team. But they're defending very well on the floor.
And the referee notices there's an infringement there. The penalty going to Edinburgh Accies, and Campbell acts quick. Now Stephen now spilling the ball over the heads to Lyle, and Lyle, he knows his way to the try line. He's not able to evade the attention of the Gala defenders there on the 22.
You know, Accies could have put that out for a 14-5 half-time lead, and they might rue that. I know they want to go for the scores, but the semi-final, that could be a decision to come back to haunt them.
We will see if that is going to be pivotal in this tie, because Gala now have the ball in hand. And it's Liam Scott, he finds Mitchell now passing it to Callum Pate, the try scorer for Gala. Now Tim McCavanagh with a nice pass out to Ben Gill on the wing, and it's drifted forward, so it's a let off there for Edinburgh Accies, but it is currently Edinburgh Accies 14, Gala 5. And Richard Mill gets play back underway, but as Neil did mention, it's a little bit more abrasive from this Gala side, but they do have a lot of back rows and a lot of powerful centres in their team as well. But Edinburgh is having to scamper back to get the ball, and now Welsh is on the field of play, and we look at trying to release him into some space, and he managed just to get the ball into Max Wallace. He's looking to go again. He got an excellent try in the first half, which stretched the lead. And now came back to Ben Appleson. He gives it to Stephen, and Will Stevens clattered by Craig Dodds, who quickly signals that it was a high challenge, and he's got to watch himself, because another yellow card won't be welcomed for their playmaker. But Edinburgh Accies doing well to get the ball over to the roadside, and now Gav Welsh, who finds a little space. He doesn't like the close quarter action, but manages to offload well in the hands of Appleson. Appleson looking to try and fend the first challenge and offload off the deck to Lyle. Can Lyle get some space here as he approaches the Gala 22? And he's just been brought down. Now Appleson, he finds Stephen getting the ball to Campbell just bouncing off his feet, evading the first couple of challenges. It's taken 4 players to get anywhere near Rory Campbell there. And again into the hands of Gav Welsh. He'll look to try and get through the gap and show his pace. Now Lyle looking to go around the outside, but he's been met well with Gill, but he offloads to Richard Mill, and Richard Mill is going to stretch Edinburgh Accies' lead and get the ball down 19 points to 5, and it's patient build up from Edinburgh Accies. It's excellent sevens to watch.
On today's form anyways, they look like they've got a real balance in their team, and they look like they can do a bit of everything. And you know, Gala were always going to bring that sort of physicality, and they have matched that to a certain degree, and what else they've got has been enough at this point. And that conversion is vital, because it takes them, you know, more than 2 scores clear.
21 points to 5. So there's a lot of scoring needing done from Gala if they're going to make it into their first final in a long, long time. It was 1995 where they lost to Kelso. Edinburgh Accies from the restart get the ball back on their side, which they'll more than welcome. And Richard Mill just prancing about short of the 10 metre line. He feeds it to Ross Lyle, and he's went into contact, and now boot to ball. It's an unorthodox boot to ball, but the afterburners come on in a little Peter Kay moment, a have it there from Ben Appleson, but he's not able to connect with his boot to the ball. And now it's came back on a Gala side, and there was almost a
definitely knock on, I'm sure it was.
I thought I would say a hint, and Appleson having to work hard to get back, and it looks like he's running in porridge, but he manages to get back quick enough, and he reluctantly goes to ground as he's under a bit of pressure from Gala. As they go, the game perhaps takes a lot of the sting of the game perhaps comes out of it, as the exertion of getting to this stage of a sevens tournament is evident on both sets of players. And Gala now with the ball in hand on the 10 metre line inside the Edinburgh Accies half. Mitchell takes the ball into Richard Mill. Now Gala, who are perhaps not going with any sort of real urgency, look to try and break the line through Gregor Collins. And now Liam Scott, he goes one way, then goes the other. He finds Tim McCavanagh. Tim McCavanagh's got Glenn McCrum on the outside, but he looks to go it alone and just bounces off Glenn Welsh. 3 players rolling about on the deck from Tim McCavanagh's wrecking ball run. And now it's back in the hands of Pate. Pate finds McCrum. McCrum's got Dodds in support, and Dodds is going to go in for a score for Gala. And now the sense of urgency comes on. It's going to be a quick conversion attempt from Craig Dodds. It's successful straight away. Almost 2.5 minutes left in this game, and there's going to be a lot of scoring needed from Gala, but it's 11 points is the deficit. It's not impossible.
Accies are just looking to get possession and slow the game down.
Gala getting play straight back underway, and it's right into the bread basket of Liam Scott. If he could get a score here, or Gala can get a score from this phase of play, and sets us up for a grandstand finish as Craig Dodds takes the play straight into the faces of Edinburgh Accies, and now a little hitch kick, and it's a knock on from Gala. Ben Gill looking to go around Welsh, and just when he looked to try and evade the clutches, the ball just squirmed out of his grip. A little wry smile from Liam Scott as he limps back into position, but I think he'll be disappointed in his teammate there that he's just coughed up the ball. And then Brackies, they'll get possession. 2 minutes left in this game, deep inside their own 22, but you would imagine they'll be looking to try and just retain the ball and suffocate Gala now.
Yeah, if they can just do enough over the next minute and a half, it should be okay. Nothing silly here for Accies would be the answer.
Oh, that great defensive effort there from Gala coming out the line. It's an offload from Richard Mill, who looked to try and offload it deep inside his own goal line, but it's been a knock-on from Gala. The referee is signalling. It was dangerous there from Edinburgh Accies, but they'll get another put into the scrum. And you're saying as long as they don't do anything silly and they start lobbing the ball about in their...
Yeah, I mean, potentially what's left, could they just go along and back their defence? I don't know, but we'll soon find out.
Vincent Hart putting the ball into the scrum. It's now came to Richard Mill. He goes one way, then goes the other, then does eventually find Ross Lyle. And Ross Lyle, if he could keep his foot in, that would have been probably the game there, as you would imagine. He'd have went in for a score, but the referee is going to give the penalty to Edinburgh Accies, and they'll look to try and take the sting out of this game.
Yeah, they might kick the touch now, just slow the game right down. There's only a minute left.
Vincent Hart just sizing up his options inside his own 22, just to the right hand side of his own post as he's got his back to them, and he kicks. I think he was aiming for Stuart Cameron in the filming position at the top of that tower. Unfortunately, he missed on this occasion, but it's going to be a throw into the line out for Edinburgh Accies. And this is the maturity that years ago we never really seen this. And I remember playing Edinburgh Accies in the final at Peebles, and that was probably the start of their rise when they started becoming the city team. This is a bit of the maturity and the influence of Mill and Campbell.
Yeah, it is, and they've actually managed the game really well. You know, Gala's just kept throwing themselves at them, and they've managed the game really well. It's been pretty impressive.
Welsh finds Lyle, and Lyle looks to exhibit his pace yet again, and he opts for power as he bounces himself into the Gala defenders and fights really, really hard to get on the ground and does well. And Richard Mill just takes the ball, kicks it out, and that is going to be the game. It is going to be Edinburgh Accies in the final. 21 points to 12 that they defeat Gala.
So it would be a final between JED-FOREST and Edinburgh Accies. Accies had appeared 3 times in previous JED Sevens finals, back in 1930, 1957 and 1963, but never tasted victory. Could they do it against JED-FOREST, who were looking for their 14th win at their own tournament? Let's find out as we rejoin Neil Hinnigan and first Dale Clancy.
JED-FOREST did just get their final words into the huddle. A team who has been inspired all campaign. They have been head and shoulders above the rest, and they're going to start the final with Dom Buckley, Finlay Scott, Gregor Young, Gary Monroe, Lewis Walker, Rory Marshall and Lewis Young. And as for you would call them the visiting team, they're going to be starting with Max Wallace, Ross Lyle, Rudy Campbell, Will Stephen, Vincent Hart, Gavin Welsh and Richard Mill. And you would imagine the addition of Gavin Welsh might be to counteract the pace which is on display for JED-FOREST. But Gary Monroe is going to get the final of JED-FOREST underway, and it's been flat back by Rudy Campbell into the hands of the speedster Gav Welsh. He manages to link up well with Stephen. Now into the hands of Vincent Hart inside his own 22. He sizes up his options and give it back to Stephen. And now back in field, Edinburgh Accies looking to work hard to get to the floor and retain this ball. And Vincent Hart passing to Richard Mill. Richard Mill's got Gav Welsh outside him. Is he going to try and stand up? Finlay Scott is going to do just that, but he manages to release Ross Lyle. He goes back in field and now finds Richard Mill in that supporting line. He puts the big fend out, and JED-FOREST digging him out in the floor trying to get the ball back, but Edinburgh Accies do well. Vincent Hart, he finds Stephen. Stephen's got Rudy Campbell. He's probably going to do a hitch kick, which he does, just that. And then he dances back in field. The offload is attempted but just not able to get through his hands as Mac Wallace was loitering on the shoulder. And now Vincent Hart, he finds Richard Mill. Richard Mill again just picks that position in centre field. And now Gav Welsh looking to just go round the outside of Lewis Young. Is he going to get in for the opening score of the JED-FOREST 7th final? He does just that. And Gav Welsh, his first start in the tournament, and he gets the first score. And they have went from their own try line, retained the ball, and they score in the far corner there. And it's Gav Welsh with the opening score.
Yeah, that's what Accies have been good at today. They have went numerous times along the pitch, one way or another, passing, moving, support play, or indeed just a bit of gas on the outside. And Gav Welsh finishes that off well. He just pins his legs loose. Young, obviously no slouch, but he just gets his cell in the corner there.
Yeah, I think he's streamlined, the new addition of Gav Welsh now, the streamlined shaved head. And the conversion attempt from Richard Mill. Head goes down to the ground pretty sharply as he looks a bit disappointed with his attempt there. This came back on Inbrake's side from the scrum, a little push on the back, but Inbrake's do well to gather it. Richard Mill getting the ball to Gav Welsh. Gav Welsh just going back in field. If he can get a gap, he's going to be hard to stop, but he's been well marshalled there. Now Will Stephen finds Vincent Hart. He throws the dummy and just dances back inside. Now spilled over to Ross Lyle on this. He's got oodles of space to work with, but opts to go back in field, which is a sensible option because that's where the support is. Richard Mill getting the ball away from the breakdown. Max Wallace finds Will Stephen. Will Stephen's got Rudy Campbell on the touchline there. And it's been deemed a high challenge there from JED-FOREST, and Inbrake's yet again will have the ball in hand. 3.5 minutes played. Vincent Hart has got the ball in hand. JED-FOREST 0, Inbrake's 5 here in the final of the JED-FOREST Sevens. Max Wallace again getting the ball through the hands to Richard Mill. Richard Mill going against the grain, looking to try and unlock this JED-FOREST defence. He manages to take 2 defenders out of the game. Rudy Campbell now's got some support. He's going to go round the outside of Gregor Young. Is he going to go in the corner? Has he got this pace to get round the outside? He doesn't. And Gary Munro is scampering back now. Can Jed reply? They throw the ball to Rory Marshall. He's got a lot of work to do, but opts to go back in field. He bounces off Gav Welsh. Finlay Campbell there in support. Gary Munro now getting the ball away to Lewis Walker. Lewis Walker finds Lewis Young. Lewis Young's got his twin brother Gregor Young in support. He takes play down to a pace which is relatively pedestrian, but the referee has signalled that there's a penalty there. Don Buckley is going to take the penalty off his right boot and then taps it quickly to Lewis Walker to Gary Munro. Gary Munro finds Finlay Scott. He's inside his own 22 now. Rory Marshall looking to try and break free from his own half. Now Lewis Walker, both teams very, very comfortable with the ball in hand, looking to go from side to side. It's almost like a training drill at times when you watch these two teams. And this is a textbook move straight out the back garden as Lewis and Gregor Young link up on the far side. Rudy Campbell was quick to that, but now Gregor Young has escaped the clutches. He's got some space there. He's got Will Stephen for attention, and he goes round him. He's been scythed down to ground, but he bounces up quickly, looks to try and offload, and the balls went into touch. So the attacking chance there for JED-FOREST passes them by, and from the line out they almost get the ball back on their side, but it's bobbled forward. Finlay Scott has gone over the try line, but the referee is going to bring that back. There's going to be a put into the scrum at Inbrake's, and it's going to be rolled in. Flat back. Vincent Hart now has Gav Welsh. He just bounces off both feet and tries to ask questions of the JED-FOREST defence. And JED-FOREST have fought very well on the floor, and Rory Marshall is digging about in there for the ball, gets it back on his side, and the advantage is coming their way. Free ball for Lewis Walker. He bounces back in field, looks to try and stretch his arms over the line, but not able to. Good defensive play there from Richard Mill. Inbrake's having to work hard to defend here. He's now bubbled back. Here's going to be a penalty offside. No further action from the referee. It's going to be a penalty to JED-FOREST. Gregor Young takes the penalty, and then just the defensive line disjointed, bounces back in field. Gary Munro is going to go over the whitewash for a score, and JED-FOREST tie things up here at the home of their own seventh with a kick to come just before half time. 6.5 minutes gone. It's Inbrake's 5, JED-FOREST 5.
Yeah, they just couldn't hold back the tide any longer, Accies. They had a chance to get out of there, and you know, Gav Welsh is not the biggest guy in the world, and he takes the contact right under his own posts, and the way Jed are over the ball, I think they were asking for a lot of trouble.
Gary Munro adds the extras, and that is a very pivotal time to score for this home side. It is JED-FOREST 7, Inbrake's 5, and join us back for second half coverage of the JED-FOREST final. Restart here. Rudy Campbell, he's up like a salmon and flaps that back. It's came back to Vincent Hart. He's going to go in for a score, but the referee bringing that back for a knock on. And Rudy Campbell still a bit deject on the ground. As
it depends whether it was him that touched it or not. I don't know, like it was tight, I couldn't see from here.
I think the cheeky smile from Don Buckley would perhaps suggest that one of the Jed players maybe got a little touch on that, but it was an opportunity for Inbrackis, and it shows you the bounce of the ball is going to be pivotal here in the scrum. It comes back on the JED-FOREST side. It's over to Lewis Young. Lewis Young's going to ask some questions to Ross Lyle. Ross Lyle's answered every single one of them as he wraps them up just on the 22. It's now in the hands of Gary Monroe. The defence from Inbrackis is pushing up now, and it's Finlay Scott who goes just almost inside of Rudy Campbell. He's good spatial awareness, knew where he needed to be. Now the 2-on-1 is manipulated. Finlay Scott linking up with Dom Buckley. Finlay Scott now passing to Gary Monroe inside their own 22. Now Lewis Walker, who's been a breath of fresh air. He goes round the outside to Gav Welsh, and he's shown a good sizeable bit of pace there. And now Rory Marshall offloading. He's got Lewis Young there. Lewis Young, he manipulates the 2-on-1, and Lewis Young has got Richard Mill for some attention, but he's going to go underneath the sticks, and it is a score for JED-FOREST. 12 points to 5 they lead, and it is just about manipulating defences for JED-FOREST, getting players in the position that they want them, and that it means defence and attack.
Yeah, clinical again from Jed. Scored before half time, scored after, pretty much. This conversion goes over. It's a long way back for Accies now, but great try by Lewis Young. Yeah,
it was an excellent try, and it's perhaps straight from the textbook that we see from the Youngs, that sort of abrasive running. The restart there, Rudy Campbell trying to windmill the ball back for Edinburgh Accies, but he's got a bit of attention there from Gregor Young, so it does come back on the JED-FOREST side, and 2.5 minutes gone in the second half, and that's a uncharacteristic error from Lewis Young there, as he's under no pressure at all, just stretching for the ball, knocks it on, and it's going to go back to Edinburgh Accies. And now Will Stephen put the ball into the scrum and against the head. How often do you see that in Sevens rugby? But Lewis Walker, he gets the ball back, throws that pass to Rory Marshall, but it just evades him, and now Lewis Young, who makes amends for his earlier error, gets his clutches on the ball and takes the play up to the halfway line. And now JED-FOREST having to concede a bit of territory, but Don Buckley with the ball in two hands now, in one hand looking for the cut, and it's Finlay Scott who bounces out of trouble. And now Lewis Walker with a big forceful fend straight into there was almost the throat of Johnny Jones there, but and now Gary Monroe, he picks the gap, he's looking for the cut there, and there's Rory Marshall. He's been tackled well over the 22, but he's popped back up with the ball, he's not held, and he's going to go over for a score, and JED-FOREST stretch their lead in this final. It's JED-FOREST 19, Edinburgh Accies 5, and out of nothing JED-FOREST all of a sudden look very, very comfortable.
Yeah, Rory Marshall again just working hard, ever present, and he goes to deck there, and whether he's held or not, it's up to Rory to play the whistle, and he does, and he takes his opportunity, and it was a quality finish in the end from Rory.
Yeah, just perhaps showing a little bit too much class throughout the whole squad. And I'll tell you, another player I've been impressed with is Lewis Walker. He's a very good player.
Oh, he's a quality addition to this squad. I mean, they were already a class act, and then this guy arrives from Australia, and he's got about everything as well. So they are a finely tuned machine, Jed, and they're proving it here in this final.
A successful conversion attempt from Gary Monroe as well. Part man, part mummy by the looks of things, as he's got his head taped up and his right knee heavily strapped as well. But he's putting his body on the line for the cause for his hometown club. 21 points to 5. JED-FOREST currently lead, and you would imagine they're starting to grip their hands and their fingers round this trophy, and it's not went 10, but it eventually does. It bobbles out the 10 metre line. Both players and both teams just watch it bounce about short of the 10 metre line, and now Edinburgh Accies through Richard Mill find Ross Lyle, who's been kept relatively quiet in this final, and Lewis Walker gets himself in there. Gav Welsh passing to Stevens found Jones, and now back in the cut, and almost through the gap there, just couldn't find the offload. Good defensive tracking back there from JED-FOREST, but they do concede the penalty short of the halfway line. Edinburgh Accies ball in hand. Rudy Campbell is just waiting instruction from the referee to get play back underway, and he finds Gav Welsh. Now Will Stephen, Richard Mill just on the halfway line, just on the 15 in front of the stand side, finds Ross Lyle. He's in close quarters, but he looks to just duck in between the two JED-FOREST players, and Finlay Scott is one of them. He manages to work hard to get his body on the ground, and the ball comes back on an Edinburgh Accies side, and Gav Welsh offers himself up as first receiver again. Gets the ball through the hands, and now Angus Inwood, who's came onto the field of play. And now Rudy Campbell looking to try and take play quickly. It's now up to the 22, and Edinburgh Accies have numbers up if they can go quickly. The signal of the cut was there from Richard Mill, but perhaps not watched there by Will Stephen. And now Ross Lyle finds Gav Welsh. Gav Welsh has got Rudy Campbell. Rudy Campbell's got some support there, and it's a clattering challenge coming in there from Gary Monroe. And the penalty does go the way of Inbrackis, but it was a huge challenge, and it just eats time into the clock. We've got about 6 minutes gone in this second half, and Rudy Campbell now is looking at trying to find a way to this line. Angus Inwood, if they want to win this final, they perhaps don't want to be finding their way over in the far corner, but Inbrackis do recycle the ball back well. Campbell getting it away. Jones finds Stephen just linking up well with Jones yet again, and they throw the big pass out to Lyle, asking him to do a bit of work, but he'll welcome that. He looks to go back inside of Gregor Young, who stands his ground really well. The ball squirms out of the ruck inside the 22. Now Will Stephen, he'll see chip and go, but he's kicked it straight into the clutches of Lewis Young, and he will welcome this foot race with Gav Welsh, and he's going over the 22. He's went straight for his own 22, and he's going to get the score here, and that perhaps is the exclamation point as he chucks the ball in the air and pretends to shoot out the sky. Rory Marshall joins the celebrations, as does Lewis Walker. Will Stephen is they needed to throw caution to the wind. They did. Inbrackis needed to do something, but they just kicked it straight into the breadbasket of one of the quickest players in the circuit.
You know what, all the way through this circuit, Jed, you would think get a lot of luck, but at the same time they just make that luck happen for them. They're in the right place at the right time, they're hustling away, and when you've got players like Lewis Young, that is just, that is Lewis Young in a heartbeat. He's gone like, and very, very well deserved winners, Jed. They've been outstanding the whole way through, and they deserve to win that final.
And that is exactly it, they deserve to win the final. The referee brings proceedings to a close, and it is JED-FOREST at 28, Inbrackis 5, and we did say before the final what impact this has on the club as a whole. You can see all the minis coming onto the field and celebrating with the players, all the players hugging and embracing, and now take a breather and shake hands. And on the balance of play, it was Jeds to lose. There had been a cut up of absolutely everybody else in the Kings of the Sevens. It was their tournament to lose, and it's went to form.
No, look, you know what, Jed probably saved their best performance from the final. They were, apart from the first 3-4 minutes when they hardly had any ball from Aki's, and I thought if Aki's got an early score, they might could go the distance with Jed, but they just couldn't do it. And Jed, as we said, the class right across the park, and they were outstanding in that final, especially the second half, and deserved winners. Can't say any more about them. They've just been the class act of the park, and that's it. They've been out of sight for the last 2 or 3 weeks really, and that's icing on the cake today for them.
Yes, it's now 31 finals for JED-FOREST and 14 wins, and you can put down that their last win is now this year, 2022.
That was tough. We had to dig deep there. The whole tournament, we've played some tough teams today, but when you get the crowd behind you and the sun shining, what a day! What a day! The preparation this week has been tough for us because we knew we'd had the Kings in the bags. We didn't want to disappoint the boys here or the crowd. They've obviously came down because they knew we were good at a good side, and just to back it up there and win, just unbelievable. We've got some older guys who have had a lot of experience. We've played at a high level, and to bring these young guys in, Lewis Walker and Kieran Hayes, boys that have played in some of the other tournaments, they gel together, and that's worked massively for us this year.